the elements that we have, like earth, fire, air, water, and then the fifth one being the ether. This is all alchemical information. If you think about alchemy, what's the purpose? It's always to reach gold. And gold in French is or, right? O-R. So it's two letters, O and R. And or in Hebrew is light. So light, gold, whatever that is. So that's the quest of any alchemist. I think the quest of any human. Or, but or in French. So O. The O in French also O. Like this. O, like the letter O. It means water. And then R in French, which is R. R in French is air. So basically, the quest is to find the water that's in the air. So these are the elements. Water holds intention. Water, it's what navigates. Water never dies. If you know, we all know that water never dies. If you put it anywhere, it's gonna find a way to get out of where it is. If water has to go somewhere, it doesn't die whatsoever. And water carries the energy. That's why when you put, let's say, an orange in water, then water becomes the taste of an orange. If you put a lemon in water, then the water becomes the taste of the lemon. If you put coffee in water, then it becomes the taste of the coffee. So any intention you put on it, it carries it. That's why holy waters around the world, they don't call them holy waters because they're magical waters, because the water was intended with some magical energy. So the water is the body that holds it. And this is good for us to know in our rituals in the future or for stuff like that. Water holds air. So O and R. Air is air, your element. Air carries it. Air carries the water. So it's the water that's carried by the air. Air is the element that carries everything, you know, because air moves all around. It carries things, you know. So water contains an air, and air is like a vehicle. Air travels, you know, it takes things with it, you know. And that's why it's like, I learned this from you. You follow the air and you say the wind. Wind is air. When you say follow the wind, and it takes you where you need to be. Sometimes you need to follow the wind and see where it takes you. Because when you follow the wind, it might sound like science fiction or like crazy, but it takes you somewhere where you need to be, because the wind carries. Like that's why the genies or jinns in Arabia in the desert, they're called jinns. Genie, if you think about the genie, when it comes from the bottle, and the genie is a jinn, what's his element? What is he made up from? Air. Air is the other element that we cannot see, you know? So the elements are actually real. We're earth, right? We're made up of earth. We're very physical. We're like earth people. We're called humans. We live on earth. We're very physical. So what we might not see is the overlap of the other dimensions of the other four elements, of the other three elements. So we don't know what's in water. That's why with all our scientific knowledge, we only know 1% of what's in the oceans, because we're not water elements. So we have no idea what's in the oceans. We don't know what's going on in the water. We don't understand water. We just drink it, but we don't understand it. We don't know air. That's why we cannot see the spirit realm. The spirit realm is air. So if we are the inhabitants of earth, of the earth elements, there are inhabitants and beings of the air elements. There are inhabitants of the water elements, and there are inhabitants of the fire elements. That's why Lucifer is created from fire. All of these four elements, they are beings created from each element. The jinns, that the Arabs call jinns, those are created, those are air, basically, or either spirit when it dies, or that's air element. You know, we are earth. And then you have the ocean, which we don't know about. We just know the fish. That's it. The thing with fire, the fire can be turned off. Water never dies, but fire dies, because when you blow on it, it can die. So fire is what makes us alive. And that's why when we die, we turn off, like a flame. We die. I know there's four elements, but the three essential elements for existence are basically, well, earth, because we are on earth, so I would say it's air and water are very important, you know. Fire is more like a tool. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. It's somewhat controllable, but it has consciousness too. It has consciousness. That's why sometimes in our rituals the fire turn off randomly, or it starts moving randomly, because the fire, same as the winds, same as when I tell you I'm a weather shaman and I tell the rain to stop and it stops, is because there's a consciousness correlated to that. Same for tornadoes. When they do studies for tornadoes, for what happens after tornadoes in US or something, it's fascinating how they found that in the middle of the tornado area of the hurricane, hurricane has tornadoes in it. They get fascinated how some houses are just spared. Some houses just don't get touched because there is a consciousness in the tornado or in the air. Either the owners don't want to die, or they communicated to the tornado. That's why a lot of holy places around the world, like for example Mecca, the Kaaba, the Black Cube, you know how many shit happens when it never touches that area, because the consciousness of 2 million people who visit there every year is about protecting that area, so nothing touches it. No fires, no tornadoes, no winds, nothing. Because basically you can communicate with air, you can communicate with fire, you can, it's possible, because they're just as alive as us. If we're alive, how can we say they're not alive? We're earth, they're air, they're water, they're fire, they're alive as much as us. So we can talk to them, they are alive. And that's why they said that if you talk to some fire workers, they see some almost supernatural behavior with fire, where sometimes when they try to turn on the fire from the front, when the building is caught on fire, the fire stops because they're about to turn it off with the water. So the fire kind of stops. And then they're like, oh, where did it go? And then they find out that the fire started from the back of the building, and they don't know how, because the fire is alive. That's why fires, when they are in forests, when they burn the forests and they don't stop, it's because they're alive. You know, they keep pouring so much water on them and they never turn off, because they have a consciousness. It's all about energy, you know. These elements are very important, and energy cannot be destroyed. Embodying the spirits, you need always a tool, some sort of tool, right? Like that's why I've told you earlier about water. You can hold things in waters, like the holy water, or you can put potions or anything. Or even, as I told you, that Japanese scientist that did the experiments on water, if it holds positive words, it stays better for a longer time. And if it holds negative words, if you start telling negative words, then it, you know. But spirit needs to be embodied. We are physical people, right? We're physical. So that means anything that we want to embody from the spirit into the physical reality has to have a tool that will give it form. Okay, our human body is the form of the spirit. My sigils are the embodiment of a certain spiritual aspect. Like earlier I said, I'm gonna create a sigil to suck negativity. For me, that's actually something that means that it's just part of the spirit that needs to be embodied, you know. It needs to have a physical form, you know. So something that's spiritual, but it needs to become physical. What do? We use jewelry, we use sigils, we use any tools, you know. A lot of other information about rocks too, about crystals, because rocks are also alive, you know. There are rocks, you know, these elements are alive. They're just as alive as us. They're very alive, and that's why this energy that I said, for example, today I read 2 negative comments. Some people just pooped their energy on me because I'm an easy outlet. I'm out there online, I'm on social media, my comments section is open. Someone is having a bad day, someone is hating their life, someone hate everything. they have to throw that negativity on someone. I'm there, they throw it on me or they throw it on you. But for me, in my turn, I have to let that go. That's why I work out every other day. You know, my workout is for my body, but it's also to let that crap go out of my body because it's very toxic. Or it could be sigil, it could be fire, it could be, you know, it has to, that energy has to go. For you, it's laughing, you laugh at it, you know, because you're letting the energy out through laughing. For me, the other day I felt so good when I burned so much. For me, it's burning, you know. I feel like when I see something burning, I feel satisfied, you know, when I see it's just there's I feel like a release of energy that comes out when I see things burning. So for me, but these are things I was not aware of before. It's really some cool stuff. It's really some cool stuff.